Hello everyone. In this presentation we will talk about the impact of algorithms on information consumption, especially on social media. Before we begin, we must remind ourselves of what algorithms are. They are a process or sets of rules to be followed in calculations or other problem-solving operations. When we talk about algorithms, we often mean algorithms performed by machines and computers because the processes and sets of rules in the modern world can get too complicated for people to be understood, and they are performed by machines, mostly AI. We hope that you'll be able to see that people, users of social media and their digital behavior are also part of the algorithms running the digital environment, and with that awareness make your digital habits better. While covering the theoretical ground, we also conducted a survey. The usage of social media to propagate false information has become quite common. They have become an important source of information, and as the usage of social networks increased, the abuse of the media to spread disinformation and misinformation also increased. The spread of misinformation is the result of a cognitive process by users. This is based on their assessment of the truth value of information. Acceptance of information is characterized by both as in the consistency and coherency of the message, by the credibility of the source, and by the general acceptability. Whenever people select, exchange, or discuss information or opinions, they are subject to effects to a greater or lesser extent, depending on individual personality traits. On this slide, we can see some of the prevalent biases, because social media are an environment with the constant presence of information. Those effects are more amplified than they were in the non-virtual environment. Shoshana Zuboff coined the term surveillance capitalism to showcase the current societal system created by the prevalent usage of social media and the internet by the people and unregulated practices and activities of technological corporations who mold our societies. Most of the internet, especially in social media, has their content regulated by algorithms which personalize every user digital experience, and that's where most problems start. Firstly, for the algorithm to know what will keep the attention of the user, it must have the user's data to be able to predict their moods, interests, and potential changes in behavior, and that way information consumption is strongly tied with the surveillance. Secondly, to keep the attention of users and to show them ads for profit, social media have a design tendency to induce addiction, which affects mental health negatively, and solely to provide content which will keep the users on their apps. Because the algorithm personalizes every user's experience, it's hard to make a general approach. So the best way to reduce the problems created by the algorithm is to try to help people raise the information literacy skills so they can actively try to consciously search for needed and desired content. Instead, the algorithms can and will radicalize users by showing them information and opinions with which they already agree or with which they strongly and emotionally disagree. Another problem is that algorithms don't function transparently, so nobody can be sure how exactly it works and what it will look like in the future. Algorithms used in various fields, including social media, have raised security concerns. Petrescu and Christian highlight algorithm bias, privacy compromise, and centralized power as among the issues. Biased algorithms based on historical data can lead to discriminatory outcomes. Algorithms can collect and process personal data, making them susceptible to theft and privacy violations. The use of algorithms can lead to centralized decision-making and the lack of transparency. Ethical and responsible algorithms that allow users to opt in are transparent about data collection are essential, according to Petrescu and Christian. Regulations and standards are needed to ensure the safety of algorithmic systems and user privacy. It is crucial to use algorithms responsibly to encourage fairness, privacy, and accountability. Social media algorithms should be developed ethically and with security as a key component. Technological companies have always been aware of the importance of data. If harvested and analyzed successfully, data can be greatly monetized. The data which is extracted becomes crucial for advertisement, as over 84% of Google's total revenue and 98% of Facebook's revenue depends on advertisements. Social media users are provided with free content if they consent to share their personal information. A survey conducted by us showing that only 24 out of 147 people completely read the terms and conditions. Hence, many unknowingly sign away certain rights. Big techs can go to extreme levels to collect data, such as Facebook paying teenagers to download data tracking apps, and Google acquiring Fitbit and getting access to the largest database of exercise, sleep, and activity data. To extensively get user data, the users need to be hooked to a social media, and here lies the importance of social media algorithms. The Cambridge Analytica scandal, which breached the personal data of over 87 million people, made people curious about the inner workings of algorithms, but they still remain shrouded in secrecy. Professor Stacy Cotter of Penn State University asserted that these companies are intentionally opaque and how the algorithms work to protect proprietary tech and prevent any backlash they may get for violating human rights. Companies such as Facebook, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft spend millions of dollars every year to cooperate lobbying by influencing the government's rules and regulations for the digital economy. Big techs harvest user data, including personal information. Their algorithms create a profile of each individual, which is used for targeting advertisements, including political ones. This algorithmic micro-targeting is not just a blatant violation of the right to privacy, but also freedom of thought and expression, as political parties and even third parties may influence one's political opinions. Political content exposed to the user may range from false information to extreme content. This could lead to polarization and hate speech being circulated at a rapid rate. Ad libraries contain data about ads, including who ordered them, what their content was, where they were distributed, and how they were moderated. Platforms such as Google, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok have ad libraries, although TikTok has an ad policy of political ads not being allowed on their platform, so such ads are being distributed through influencers' content in coalition forms of hype houses. With growing concerns about user privacy and rights on social media, countries around the world have begun investigating and framing policies. The General Data Protection Regulation was introduced by the European Union in 2016. Lawmakers in the UK and Canada are proposing the creation of a publicly accessible registry of political advertisements where online platforms are required to detail who paid for the ad, the demographic groups targeted, etc. The USA has been reluctant to frame stringent policies due to principles in the First Amendment. We designed the questions to receive generally relevant information about the users. For example, the age groups are supposed to correspond with how young was the person when the social media environment was formed in the digital space and the country of living, because the algorithm considers data like that for its work. To receive information relevant to the information consumption and to receive the feelings and thought about being a part of surveilled digital environment. Most of the students who responded were born after the year of 1999, so social media can be considered a part of their childhood and growing up in a way that the internet without social media may seem strange to them. One interesting part is that not many question students use TikTok, 51 of 147. This was surprising for one part of the group, since TikTok is considered the dominant social media. But since India banned TikTok and a large number of students, 57 to be exact, who answered the survey come from India, it's not that extraordinary. Another shocking thing we learned is that not many people know of the term echo chamber. Only 39 of 147 students confirmed they know its meaning, an environment in which a person only encounters beliefs and opinions which coincide with their own. So their existing views are reinforced and alternative ideas are not considered. This shows a need for a wider education of what the digital environment modeled by algorithms really is. Even though most students are aware of algorithms and data collection, 2/3 were aware of both before filling out the survey. This shows that awareness needs to be transformed into knowledge. One optimistic result is that even though most students don't read the terms and conditions, there is a strong but small percentage, 36% to be exact, of those who research important parts about the terms and conditions. 80% of respondents from Bosnia and Herzegovina and 71% of respondents from Poland believe that they could not escape political advertisements during elections. On the other hand, in India, only 30% of people believed so. This difference may be because of the different age demographic, as response from India were younger than response from other countries we surveyed. The question about government regulation became crucial to our survey, as here the majority of respondents, 75.5%, want the government to step up against the tech companies by creating social media regulations to protect the privacy of its citizens. A look at the stats on the time spent on social media indicate to the addictive nature of these platforms, which is facilitated by algorithms that aim at having the user scrolling, liking, and commenting for maximum duration. Another interesting thing is that more than half of students responded with answers always and often, confirming a large number of suggested for you content. This is important because that content isn't provided by pages and people that users decided to follow, but content which is provided them by the algorithm's prediction of users' interests. This shows that content is more based on the algorithm's predictions and less based on people's conscious choices of choosing who and what to follow. On this slide, you can see the sources we used. In conclusion, most people go through social media and travel the digital environment aware that some things are off, but they yet have to learn how much it affects their lives. During the presentation, we talked about different aspects which form the digital environment, how and why content, which consists of information regardless of it being true or not, gets to the user. We hope it is helpful to you in understanding the topic enough for the future learning about it, and maneuvering the digital environment to help you in your quest for knowledge and recreation.